This is a public hearing. We have not had anybody sign up to speak, and so I just want to verify that there is not anyone in the audience who would like to speak. Let's see, I think I do need to open the public hearing. So it is. And as I mentioned before, on our sign-up sheet, we have not had anyone sign up. And so just a second and final call, if you're interested. Now's the time. Perhaps if you just have a good limerick or joke. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Council, what would you like to do?
I'll move approval of the resolution adopting the assessment roll for the Markham Pond Retaining Wall City Project 05-18.
Second.
All right, so Mr. Nephew has made a motion. It's been seconded by Mr. Copen. And what exactly was the motion again, Mr. Nephew?
I'm moving the resolution in our packet.
Okay, the resolution which adopts the assessment roll.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there any further discussion necessary? All in favor say aye. Aye. That's ayes all. And then we, let's see. That's all the business we need to do for that tonight? Okay. So that brings us then to a tax-exempt revenue bond financing for Hill Murray Foundation for Hill Murray High School. I will just note that we do have a representative from Hill Murray in the audience if questions come up. And so, Mr. Ekstrand, could you give us the staff report, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, as stated, the Hill Murray Foundation, on behalf of Hill Murray High School, is requesting that the city approve $6 million in tax-exempt revenue note financing. The applicant would like this funding to refinance the existing tax-exempt revenue note approved by the city in 2005, and also some other loans that they have received in addition to that. So it's a refinancing need for them, for Hill Murray. The funds were initially needed to purchase additional property for the school and for building improvements. This request does not encumber the city at all. It's just pass-through financing for the city to endorse. Maplewood would not be liable for any of this financing. And as stated, this is just merely for refinancing, and it is the city did approve this bonding in 2005 as well. So with that, Mayor and Council, I'm happy to answer questions, and the applicant is here to answer questions as well.
Does anyone have any questions of the staff report? Mr. Nephew.
Just a quick one, Tom. So there were a couple of different notes that are being refinanced, and I guess it's not entirely clear to me, were all of the notes already tax exempt, or was only the original one that had previously been approved by the city tax exempt?
Just the original one. The others were just other conventional financing that the applicant received, to my understanding.
And so they are being refinanced to be tax exempt?
If I may defer that to the applicant to answer, I'd sure like to.
Thank you.
Or Mary, yeah.
I'm Mary. Good evening.
Hi, Mary.
The 2005 Housing and Redevelopment Authority note would be refinanced tax exempt, as well as the outstanding loan amounts that were directly between Hill Murray and Bremer Bank, and they would be refinanced as well on a tax exempt basis.
Okay. And
the federal law
you're our bond counsel, so
yes,
I'm guessing that means that you've vetted all this and that it can be done without a problem.
Yes, it can be done. Taxable financing can be refunded on a tax-exempt basis.
Very cool. That answers my question. Thank you.
As long as you're kind of close to the mic, you might as well.
Hello, I'm Jackie LaMonica, Chief Financial Officer at Hill Murray School. Do you have any questions for me this evening?
No, that was the only one I had.
Somebody dream one up for her. She came all the way down here.
Is my tuition going down next year?
No, I'm sorry. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions of the staff report? All right, so again, this is a public hearing, and once again, we do not have anyone who has signed up on the sign-up sheet. I'm going to open the public hearing. And so, this would be the opportunity if there's anyone who just forgot they should be signing up on the sign-up sheet and really wanted to come up and say something. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Mr. Mayor, I'd move adoption of the resolution approving the issuance and sale of educational facilities revenue refunding note. Second.
All right, so Mr. Lanas has made a motion, which was seconded by Mr. Copen, which would be essentially following the resolution in our packet. Correct. Any discussion necessary beyond this point? All in favor say aye. Aye. So that sound like ayes all. And so that then moves us on to the next item, which is the Commercial Use Antennas and Towers Ordinance Amendment, which would be a first reading. And thank you both for coming down tonight.
Thank you.
And so, Tom, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. As one of their 2010 goals, the Planning Commission wanted to take a look at our cell phone tower ordinance, and which is, pardon me, officially called the Commercial Use Antennas and Towers Ordinance. And just have a look at it, go through it, see if they felt it needed any updates or changes. And so they spent 2 or 3 meetings doing so, and actually found that it was pretty good. They did suggest a couple of changes, and these are before you this evening on the second page of this memo. And the changes that the commission is proposing is that just simply some language clear-ups. One statement says that if a tower is no longer in use, the ordinance has stated that the applicant may be required to remove it. They want that to be stronger and say they shall be required to remove the tower if it's no longer there. Let's get it out of there. And secondly, it was just a kind of a language clear-up. It's stating that towers shall be subject to, but not limited to, in certain conditions. I did not list all those conditions because they were lengthy, but under Section 44-31327, it's just the matter of adding the word "to" for a better sentence. So, anyway, we are asking that the council move first reading of these couple ordinance changes, and then we'll bring it back to you for the second reading in the future. Thank you.
Are there any questions of the staff report? All right, so for the third time, this is also a public hearing. And also, as with our previous public hearings, we did not have anyone who signed up to speak. So I'll open the public hearing. And this would be the opportunity for, let's see, we only have potentially 7 choices there. One's a staff member, that's really 6. I know those people didn't come to say anything. So, anyone have anything to say? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Nephew.
Just a quick question for staff. How frequently do we run into the issue of towers and antennas that run into disuse or are sort of mothballed and left out there? Has that happened on your watch, Tom?
No, the only time we have seen one that fell into disuse, they took it down. I think that was one. In fact, we just acted on it on our consent agenda a while ago. T-Mobile had one up at Trinity Baptist Church, and when they no longer needed it, they took it down. It might not have been T-Mobile; it would have been another user, but we typically don't see them remaining not in use. But it's a good catch-all.
Yep. And I can see it'd be a good thing in case there's a burgeoning of towers for some reason and then a market implosion when technology makes a lot of them obsolete, and we wouldn't want to be left with a sort of industrial wasteland of WiMAX towers or whatever it is that is the next phase of tower development. I'll move approval of the first reading of this ordinance.
Second.
All right, Mr. Nephew has made a motion, and in a very close race, Ms. Juniman seconded it. And so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion necessary for the first reading of this commercial use antennas and towers ordinance amendment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Sounded also like ayes all. All right, so that moves us out of the public hearing portion of the meeting and into unfinished business, where we have a list of resolutions of various fees that we are going to consider making some changes to. Mr. Lannis, did you have a question, or just generally poking it in that area? All right. So, let's see. Who is going to do a little staff reporting, or does it vary depending upon the resolution?
Mayor and Council, well, certainly I think between Mr. Kaneko and I, we're going to handle the next 6 items. I think all 6 were reviewed with you on November 1st. The first one, item I-1, is a 5% increase in recreation fees. Mr. Kaneko is the Park and Recreation Director, and recommending that. Actually, we debated between a 5 and 7% increase. Mr. Kaneko is recommending a 5. It'll generate about $18,000. We did not raise fees last year, but I believe they were raised in '09 at 3%. So we think it's time again with from the standpoint of the general fund, we're struggling with the matching amount that we use. This provides additional revenue, but still keeps us, I think, competitive. And I think Ms. Kaneko may want to talk just briefly about how we stay competitive with our fees in order to keep the participation up.
Sure. Thanks, Chuck. Mayor, Council, Mr. All is spot on there. We did check our surrounding cities, and we're right in the middle of the road. So there was some room to increase it beyond that 5%. But as Chuck stated, staff felt that that was enough this year, and we'll look at this again next year as well.
Are there any questions having to do with this particular resolution?
Move number 1.
Mr. Copen has made a motion to approve the adoption of the 2011 recreation fees. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Juniman has seconded it. Any discussion needed beyond now? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so that moves us then to the next one, is the adoption of the St. Paul water surcharge rate for 2011.
Mayor and Council, this is an item we've talked about a number of times, and actually is the subject of a study that we're doing looking at St. Paul water and our water facility. But one of the recommendations is, due to the shortfall in funding for our project replacement and our project costs, we were recommending an increase from 2% to 4% on the St. Paul water charge within the community. The increase would be approximately $1 per quarter for a family of 4, and would generate about $80,000 in additional revenue in 2011. This fund, as you are aware, is for unaccessible water system costs and monies needed for a fund that is currently in the negative. So we do recommend at this point in time you adopt the resolution increasing that from the water charge from 2% to 4%.
Are there any questions having to do with that?
Make a motion, move number 2.
I'll second that. Mr. Copen has made a motion, which I've seconded, to approve the adoption of the St. Paul water surcharge rate for 2011, as per the resolution in our pack. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's ayes all. That moves us on then to a resolution for adoption of the ambulance rates for 2011.
Mayor and Council, this also was an item that we had some discussion on November 1st. Chief Lucan talked a little bit about the ambulance rates, and we were recommending a 10% increase. This is due to the Medicare law that became